Evening, everyone. I might write. Apologies for that. Facebook really does make it hard sometimes. Give us a thumbs up if you can hear me. Right. If you've got any questions, put them in the comments. We'll see if we can answer them. I think the biggest thing this year for me has been the humidity. Now, as I said in the video, I'm not going to get into the technical side because I don't understand it. All I know is as soon as I started using that humidifier, um, I stopped losing eggs and the chicks started hatching. So biggest learning curve for me, and I shall now carry that on um, into next breeding season without shadow of a doubt. Um, you've obviously got to monitor it, as I said. Uh, if you don't, you're going to do it blind, and you could be going the wrong direction. So yeah. But please, I know I haven't done a live on here before, but don't be shy. If there's any questions I can't answer, I'm sure there will be others that can. Oh, Bella's going to join us, one of our cats. Yeah, meow. I'm live on Facebook. You can't steal the show from me. So yeah, what else has happened this year? We had our South Hants members show um, yesterday. I did reasonably well. I had best opposite section show, so that was really good. Um, I think she would have pushed a little bit better if she'd been in a little bit better condition. She had some loose feathers which weren't there on the day, or weren't there the day before, sorry. And yeah, I was a bit sort of, oh, where have they come from? But obviously where I'd let her settle, um, she had just seemed to have some loose feathers, whether she'd preened them herself or whatever, I don't know. But, yeah. So yeah, what else? We got Southampton. No, we haven't got Dorset next weekend. Dorset show open. Obviously, I'm still only showing any age birds because I'm still on my old UKBC rings, but I will be back to the BS rings next year with rejoining. So hopefully I'll show some young birds, see what they do. I've bred 117 this year, which is a record, but not that I aim for numbers. I'd rather have, say, 50 or 60 really good ones, but it doesn't work like that, unfortunately. Um, you've just got to keep trying different pairs. If a pair doesn't click, swap them, give them a rest, and then swap the hens, or the cocks, different partners. Look at fine details. What I tend to do is I tend to look at the chicks and try and decide what went wrong, what didn't come out in the pair that I thought would do, and then try and pick a different partner that may reflect better in the chicks, if that makes sense. So look at what's gone wrong and what can you improve on. I double factored some spangles this year. I've got a good spangle line. They've really done quite well. Did quite well with the spangles at Bath Specialist and Rares, and I thought, yeah, I've got good numbers of them here, so I'll put them, together and double factor, and it hasn't really worked. There's some hens there that I will keep, but one of them potentially will be breeding flecked normals or flecked spangles. Obviously, depending on what I put to, but yeah. So not, not it's not a case of best to best sometimes, and I think I sort of forget that sometimes. You've got to try and look at what's behind them, what's going to work best, what's worked for you in the best in the past, and visual pairing to normals has worked for me in the past. So I shall probably go back to that. Don't breed many opalines, and I've got a nice opaline this year, so that'll be nice to work in to the lines next year. So, go on, Mike. Got any questions? Anything? I know you. We talk quite regularly, but everybody else, I'll just keep chuntering. Haven't changed much in probably 2 years on my soft food and feeding, but that is one thing actually I do need to do an update on the YouTube channel actually, because in my last one I'd added a couple of products and I've actually had to stop one already because it seemed to send the hens overfit really, and I was having them lay eggs before they've even finished rearing their first round, so they were going into the second round way too early. And yeah, so I've stopped the BSP. It's a good product, and anybody who's using it on its own, keep doing it. But as part of my feeding regime now, it was too much. And deep down, I probably knew that, but I was, trying to think of things to correct other things. Because I had feather cysts, a little while, preen gland cysts on some birds. But I haven't seen any touch wood lately. So what I was doing was obviously working, and adding that in just pushed them over the edge. But the feather, I can't even remember what it's called now. I want to say alcohol, but that's not quite right. Don't want to give that to your birds. But it was all the amino acids from Fraser Feeds, and I've been using it, not in massive quantities, just in the soft food. But I won't, I haven't seen anything overly whelming to say keep using it. But sometimes these things can take 2 or 3 years. So when should I get babies out of the box? I've one 30 days old who keeps blocking the hole. To be honest, Mike, I've been taking my birds out or my chicks out a lot earlier than I have before. 30 days, yeah, I'd have them on the floor of the cage. I had a pied, nice pied, violet as well. And that bird wouldn't stay in the box. It wouldn't stay out the box. And it was only 27 days old. So I've just let it do what it wants now, and it's come out, and it's probably 29 days now, maybe 30, and it's feeding itself with a little top up from mum and dad, I think, before bedtime. So yeah, I've had less weaning problems. I've taken birds out at sort of 27, 28 days, put them on the floor of the cage because I was concerned that their crops weren't as full, and they've gone straight down and fed. And that, a few days later, I've taken them away, and they've been okay. But that's not the norm. I will leave them for, until they're sort of good 5.5, 6 weeks old before I take them away normally. But I like to see if a baby's perching, you've seen it drink, you've seen it feed, then bring it away. But out of the box, I think I was leaving mine too long, and the parents were holding back on feed to try and get them to come out of the box. And that's when it went wrong. They came out of the box weak. They were hungry all the time, because the parents hadn't fed them either properly or at all, and I hadn't seen it. So I am quite vigilant now as they start to feather up. I've got one chick now, actually. I wonder. Yeah, I think he's 24 days. Mum and Dad had withheld food, so I took them out of the box, taken Mum away, and Dad quite happily topping them up, but they are cracking seed on their own now. So, fingers crossed. But yeah, your 30-day-old chick, yeah, put them out on the floor of the cage. Plenty of seed, plenty of millet sprays. little jam jar of water. I use lids off of the old options chocolate that we used to buy years ago. I've got hundreds of them. And my actual sort of some of my seed dishes for the babies and that um, are the off a chocolate spread pot. Millets getting eaten in the box, yeah, that could be the parents, but it's giving the chicks ideas of what it's supposed to do, and I'm sure they tuck into it when mum's not in the box. So yeah, you could quite easily take that one out and put some millet on the floor, with a cage, plenty of seed, and you should be all right. But at some point, if you don't want those birds to go down again, if you know that dad is feeding, then take mum away, and that'll concentrate dad on the chicks. Otherwise, he's trying to feed the hen, mate the hen, to go again. That's where the balancing act comes. If you want them to go again for another round, just trying to make sure that things don't get attacked or are fed. So I thought I was going to have to top up these little babies, but no, don't put it back in the box. No, leave it out. Because the trouble is, once you start putting things in and out of the box, that's when mum and dad either get confused or get angry, start, getting a little bit flustered. So no, I would take it out and leave it out. Especially and this time of the year, they're not going to get chilled. I've actually left my tabletop fan running all night the last few nights because obviously it's still very warm at night. But yeah. So what else have we got? I did a little sort of montage video and pictures of our Southants members show. I've actually just found the file that I've lost. There it is. So yeah, that'll be on YouTube tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Just a little bit of fun practicing for me to do in my editing, which is, I've only got a free download on Power Director, but it works and it's all right and makes a nice little video. I did think about trying to get a new camera to do it better filming, but when you look at the price of them, the cheap ones are cheap and the dear ones are dear. So we'll see. I'll be sorting out birds soon. Gonna have to try and, like I say, I've bred 117. Not all of those have made the perch, and I have sold one or two. But yeah, I've got to get down to sort of 20, 25 hens, and I tend to not count 20, 25 cocks, and I tend not to count the hens. I tend to just keep everything to a certain level. And anything, if I think, oh, that's not good enough, I will check the background, see what it's off. And some will stay just because they're from a certain pair, but I too do tend to find that I don't use them in the end. But you never know, I might have a bad season and rely on them. These big hens, they don't always breed very well. I've had two this year. Actually, the winner yesterday, she laid eggs, but they were clear, so she'll go. But she's only just a year old, so she'll be the first one to go down new breeding season. So yeah. Any questions? Stick them in the comments. Mike, you're hot, hot on the press tonight. It'd be good to. Oh yes, yeah. Yeah, the opaline light green, yeah. Yeah, she's tucked away at the moment. She's actually in with the other babies, actually. I used her to make sure all the other babies were settled, so she's quite happy at the moment. I must give you a date for that, actually. I won't forget much. Yeah, so what else have we got? We got, oh, hiya, Lynn's. How old are your chicks when you know they are showing potential, and have you ever had any surprise you and think they weren't? Oh, definitely. Um, I know if they're going to be good, or you should know in the good when they're in the nest box. Before they've even weaned, you'll start to see pin feathers, and if pin feathers are going in all directions, you know you're onto a winner then. Um, but yeah, I mean, um, I find I've got a couple of grey greens at the moment, um, and one of them, you know, I didn't think much of, but he is starting to come on now. But the other one, I can see is not going to be any good. Um, so. But you're looking for anything with a really short mask and things. Um, you want to look at the whole bird. So short mask for me means it probably won't stay. But if a bird with short mask all of a sudden has huge spots or massive blow, then that changes things. And you've just got to look for those little pointers. But there's no definite age that you think yes or no. It's just watching them develop. But a barhead will tell you whether it's worth um, leaving in the flight to molt out. And that's what I find I tend to do is if I think, okay, it's off that pair, it's got something about it, I'll just leave it in the flight and forget about it until it's 6 months old. Um, I've got barheads now, what I'm classing as my late breds, and um, they won't go anywhere for now because I sort of forget about them and busy on other things with the shows and everything. So can you decide too early? Yeah, you can. You never know. Mrs. Fleck, as we said before, she might surprise us and come out clean, but I can see from her that there's not the quality there that I need. She hasn't got that wide face, deep mask, that sort of thing. But she'll probably have good spots. A lot of opalines have good spot, but short masks. It's just the way that breed or that mutation happens to be. There are some with some lovely deep masks, don't get me wrong, but I've never got to that level of, um, you know, greatness, I suppose. I was just thinking, actually, um, have I got a picture of my spangle? Um, don't think I have. No. What I might do, I might put some pictures up and just sort of show some of them um, where I think I've let them molt out or I've decided no, you can go at, an early stage. I'll see if I can suss some pictures out for that. So yeah, but I can't say I've ever actually sold one yet that has come back to bite me on the bum. Um, I love seeing people have success with my birds that they've bought or I've given them. There's a couple of people on our group that I do help, and they're starting to breed some really nice birds. Um, but you've just got to try and blend all these different features in. It's no good going for the same features together in every pair. You've got to try and mix it up. I always call it looking for the opposite. So if you've got a bird with lots of blow, but it's narrow, you need to find a hen or a cock with a width of face and don't worry too much about whether it's got blow or whatever. But also don't ever double up on faults. So never put two birds together with a short mask. Um, or small spots. You can double up on the good points. So I tried it this year. I doubled up on a pair that had nice blow, but the hen had slightly better directional feather. And they bred a couple of nice chicks. They're very similar. They're very similar to the parents. So, perhaps I needed to still have opposites to those. And next year, that's exactly what I will do. The cockbird actually is destined to go to the hen from yesterday, the um, cinnamon sky, because she's got tremendous width, and he's got the blow that I like to see on a bird. So yeah. So anybody lurking in the background with a question? So I've got to run out of things to talk about in a minute. And it's getting hot as well. But yeah, so I mean, hopefully everybody's put baths in for their birds. Mine, I was out all day today, so unfortunately mine only got put in this morning and taken out. But sometimes when I come home for lunch, or if I'm home for the afternoon, I'll change the bath water. So do judges generally judge the birds on set characteristics, or do some have their own preferences? What do you don't agree with the judge's decision? Okay, so judges are trained, or BS judges are trained by the BS to a standard. So we do have a standard budgie, and it's a picture of how we want our birds to look. But what's happened is there are top breeders now who have bred birds that go beyond the standard. And yes, there are set criteria. So condition is one. My bird yesterday wasn't in top condition, and Steve Bailey's grey green was. It was in lovely condition, and it's a lovely bird. It's a proper sort of showy bird. It's tighter in feather, but it's got nice width, nice face. And yeah, there are definitely judges with preferences on the type of bird. Most will always want the best bird to win, but if you've got all the birds in a class that are out of condition, he's got to, or she has got to make a calculated decision on what will win um, based on what's in front of them. You can have a bird that excels in everything but might have an odd pin feather or missing an odd spot. So it is a case of what they see in front of them is what they judge. I know people who have said, well, I'm not showing because that judge is judging. Well, I don't see that myself. I don't get that political with it. I think, my birds will, if they don't do that well on the bench, then there was a reason, and I may not be able to do anything about it. So I mean, don't agree with the judge's decision. There is um, let's call it a disciplinary. No, it's not disciplinary. There is a set of rules that we have to follow. So you have to put any grievances in writing, and I think that's backed up with a £10 note. And that will then go through. But to be honest, I don't think I've ever heard or seen of it used. So yeah, I mean, I think sometimes a lot of decisions are whinged about through a bit of jealousy, really. Um, you know, did a judge have a preference, or did that person know about that bird coming to the show? And you just don't know. Um, but like I say, I don't get that political on it. I just enjoy the day. It was absolutely brilliant yesterday. Seeing people I haven't seen for a while. Um, Mick Freeborn was up and about on his feet yesterday, which was brilliant to see. I know he's not been very well, um, and it was good. It was good. It was a good crowd. We had I think it was about 115 birds benched. So just for a members show, that is really good. So yeah, I can imagine, Lindsay, the horse world. It's no different in any hobby really. Um, there's jealousy in all walks of life, isn't there? So okay, well, we haven't had many in tonight. I see the viewers popping in and out, so obviously people just wondering what I was yarning on about. So any more questions. Otherwise, we'll keep it a short one tonight, and perhaps we'll schedule another one in a few next month maybe. Because it looks like my post on the evening actually disappeared off down the page, and then it wouldn't let me come in. So yeah, brilliant. Well, thanks for watching, all those that have watched. Maybe get some more next time. And yeah, stay safe in this hot weather and keep them birds as cool as you can. Fans, plenty of water, wet the floor down a bit as well. That can help take the heat out a little bit. So super duper. Thanks a lot, everyone. Speak to you soon.